With the death of former South African President Nelson Mandela, the uncertainty over India's ongoing tour of South Africa has been put in doubt. My colleague Rasesh Mandani caught up with Cricket South Africa's CEO Haroon Lorgat to find out about the fate of the tour. And this is a Headlines Today exclusive and also provides you the first update from Cricket South Africa on the fate of the series.
I'm joined by the CEO of Cricket South Africa, Haroon Lorgat. Haroon, the world at large, South Africa is mourning the death of Nelson Mandela. What's the legacy he's leaving behind, particularly, looking at the sporting part of it as well?
I think overall, Madiba leaves for us a wonderful legacy, one of justice, one of people living in harmony, a non-racial society. There's many wise words that keeps ringing in one's mind, but such a powerful man. Even us in Cricket South Africa, even me as an individual, we owe a lot to him. We wouldn't have been what we are today. He's just been an absolute phenomenal person.
What do you recall of his contribution to South Africa cricket, particularly the early 90s when South Africa was getting back into the fold when India first came in here at South Africa?
I think a lot about sacrifice, a lot about wisdom, a lot about reconciliation, about people living together, about all of us living in harmony, about doing things properly, fighting for that which is wrong. Lots and lots of messages from such an icon person.
And bringing the World Cup football to South Africa as well, in every aspect, sport in South Africa, he's been an inspiration as well, would you say?
Without doubt. Mandela was a person that South Africa owes a lot to the people of South Africa. In fact, the world owes a lot to him, and certainly things like the World Cup, the rugby players in '95 winning the World Cup, in fact, owes something to him as well. Cricket has got and drawn a lot out of him.
And I think the world is now looking at that massive funeral, an opportunity to pay tribute where one and all would be there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a major event. We expect all of the leaders from across the world.
And that demands massive security, of course. Does that impact sport that's being held in the country at large? Cricket, for example, the ongoing series?
I think we are a fairly safe country today. There's been other occasions when Mandela has been celebrated, when there's other massive occasions. The World Cup football was the last one, major event here. We've been without incident, and I expect much the same.
All right, let's go across to Rasesh Mandani, who's been in Johannesburg and has been covering Nelson Mandela's all the preparations that are taking place in South Africa over Nelson Mandela's funeral. But is there any threat to the cricket series? Because there were reports that 1 or 2 ODIs could be cancelled or that tour could be further curtailed, Rasesh.
Evidently not, Siddharth. That's the noises that Cricket South Africa is making so far. Haroon Lorgat making it clear that he hasn't received any advisory from the government suggesting that there should be any changes. However, there's always a rejoinder that they're putting in. If there is anything, then that would obviously be obeyed. But as things stand, India's already travelled to Durban. The South African team has travelled to Durban as well. India's got a practice session and a press conference pre-match scheduled tomorrow. So evidently, there doesn't seem to be any need for a change as far as the ongoing series is concerned.
Right, Rasesh, thanks a lot for joining us and giving us that update. Now, Nelson Mandela could neither bat nor bowl, but his influence over the cricketing world stretched beyond many individuals who actually did all of that. And it was India that welcomed Mandela, South Africa, back to the cricket scene once again, underscoring his enormous influence on the game. We take a look at the unforgettable role that Nelson Mandela has played in cricket.
It's almost a cruel coincidence that Nelson Mandela passed away during the ongoing Indian cricket team's tour of South Africa. Recent controversies aside, India has been inextricably linked with South African cricket. None more so when in late 1991, at Kolkata's Eden Gardens, that India welcomed back South Africa after ending 2 decades of wilderness. Cricket was not a game he played or followed. Football and boxing were his pursuits. But he had invited Garfield Sobers and Sunil Gavaskar during the historic occasion of the unification of South Africa's 2 cricket boards.
Saying to himself, play straight.
Less than 2 years later, Mohammad Azharuddin's side became the first team to tour the Rainbow Nation. It was appropriately termed the Friendship Series, as the stellar efforts of Nelson Mandela bore fruits. 5 years later, Mandela again proved to be an inspiration. This time on the field, India, struggling at 58 for 5, saw Sachin Tendulkar and Mohammad Azharuddin join forces for an explosive 222-run partnership. This after they met Mandela. As the shadow of Mandela's death stretched over Adelaide Oval on Friday, Australian and English players formed a guard of honour and a minute's silence. From Makhaya Ntini to Brian Lara, Mandela's impact on the game and its cricketers has been outstanding. The game would surely be poorer without his iconic presence. Sports Bureau headlines today.
Sport has the power to change the world. Nelson Mandela's epic words that encapsulated the power of sports to inspire, to unite millions of people. Mandela didn't only say these words, he proved them right, using sports to unite a country ravaged by racism. Mandela's influence on sports and athletes was second to none.
Nelson Mandela stepping out onto the rugby field wearing the Springboks colours. Chants of Nelson, Nelson, Nelson echoing the packed Ellis Park Stadium in the heart of Johannesburg. The Rugby World Cup final, the biggest game of the sport. But it was even bigger for South Africa, a nation-defining, transcendent moment in the transformation of a country from apartheid to multiracial democracy.
I never thought that we would hear that at a rugby stadium. At the time, I think it was just fantastic.
We didn't know what hit us. I mean, it was just the most phenomenal. It was really quite incredible.
I thank whatever gods.
A moment immortalized in a Clint Eastwood epic.
I am the master of my fate.
Nearly 20 years later, this moment still is a testament of what sport can achieve.
This is the time to build our nation.
We become more than just a rugby team.
Mandela underlined the role sport plays in millions of lives.
Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does.
On that day, June 24, 1995, Mandela saved South Africa. The Springboks were dear to the hearts of South Africa's white Afrikaners and loathed by the nation's black majority. But by donning the Springboks emblem, Mandela united a nation fractured by racism and hatred. Mandela embraced sports wholeheartedly: rugby, soccer, cricket, boxing, amongst others. He truly loved athletics, and at one time in his youth, Mandela cut an impressive figure as an amateur boxer.
Sport can create hope where once there was only despair. It is more powerful than governments in breaking down racial barriers.
Few other men could leave coveted millionaire sportsman starstruck. Here's a young Tiger Woods meeting the president, proudly clutching a copy of the president's autobiography. Football star David Beckham on the arm of Mandela's chair. Mandela was an inspiration to athletes.
He certainly had an impact on my life and certainly my father.
You see this cup that I'm wearing?
While he was incarcerated, South Africa were thrown out of the Olympics for over 30 years and only allowed back in after he was released. In 1996, he stepped onto the football field wearing the national team shirt as Bafana Bafana claimed the African Cup of Nations title again on home soil. He was also pivotal in helping South Africa eventually win the right to host the 2010 Football World Cup, the first in Africa and perhaps the biggest test of South Africa's progress, of its coming of age. Mandela's last public appearance for South Africa was also at this World Cup's final in Soweto, a lasting memory of his contribution to and love for sports. Sports Bureau headlines today.